Thank you, thank you, thank you. I apologize. This is your man HRap coming at you live and direct. Come test me now. I'm tripping. But I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I apologize. And I'm late. This is the End of the Bench podcast hosted by yours truly. We are on Built for This Network. We are the End of the Bench podcast, Build and Destroy. Build and destroy. Now, what I want to do is tell you, thank you for allowing me to be late. I am running late. This is the dopest podcast that you will find on the internet. It is about us. It is for us. It's a conversation about us, for us, by yours truly. I'm in the building. Thank you for tuning in. Now, as I do every week, even though I'm running late, I'm doing everything off the freestyle tip. I must acknowledge my ancestors and people who are still here, who are related to me. With that being said, I want to let my family know they are respected, they are loved, everybody, and my ancestors know that everybody who is tuning in, I must acknowledge my ancestry. That goes to everybody living and who has transitioned in the Whitmore family, the Pollard family, the Bailey family, the Turner family, the Cotton, Harper, Chris, Lansdowne, Liggins, Duncan, and you already know if you've tuned in before, everybody in the Williams clan, my mother, my father, my brothers, my sisters, my nieces, nephews, cousins, we are in the building. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for tuning in, man. As I say every week, this is a podcast. What does that mean, HRap? That means a podcast. You cannot miss it. If you walk up to me at any point in your life in the streets and say, yo, Rap, I missed your show. My bad. My show is on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just click that link that I gave you. I'm sending out the notifications right now to everybody because they think I'm not coming on, but I'm live and direct. You already know. This is what we're going to do. The show is about to begin, and it's a lot of turmoil. We're going to talk about the foolishness and the madness that's going on in D.C. We're going to talk about the community. We're going to talk about the voting. We're going to talk about discrimination. We're going to talk about the hate. We're going to talk about everything that has something to do with the diaspora because I'm here for that, man. That's why I'm here. That is why I'm here. I am not just a dude doing a podcast trying to be heard, trying to be seen. I'm trying to engage with my community. I'm trying to make my people more informed. I'm trying to put us in the best possible situation. The reason I do that is because I personally see a lot of nonsense and madness going on in the community. I see a lot of back talking, backbiting. I see a lot of negative energy issued to my community, and we don't deserve it. This is the only community in America, if you ask me. And again, this is the only community in America, if you ask me, that gets flack for being victims. And we are living in such a biased and discriminatory segment of the community that it's annoying, it's shocking, it's sickening, it's beyond belief what we deal with. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some solutions. We're going to talk about some identifying of problems. See, what I always notice is this. When you are in my community, you run into a lot of people who pretend not to understand what's going on. They always have an objective point of view, and there's nothing wrong with being objective with your point of view. You don't ever want to see things in one direction. That's more than obvious. It is more than obvious that at no point in your life do you want to be one-sided. But you shouldn't be so dual-minded that you're no culturally good. And what that means is this. If you can always see, you got to look at it the other way. See, you got to understand where these people coming from. See, you got to do this. See, you got to do that. See, I understand that you got issues with who you are. It makes me believe that you don't like who you are. Therefore, I don't like you. I'm just going to keep it funky with you, man. I am just going to keep it funky with you. I am tired of people that every time you turn around, they can see what the dominant culture could have meant by that. They can understand the disrespect that dominant culture is issuing out to us. They can dig this and they can dig that. Meanwhile, we're getting feet in our behinds. We're getting feet on our neck. We're getting disrespected at no limit. There's no regard for being this. This brown skin has no respect in America, and I don't want to hear about your 1 or 2 or 10 or 20 or 50 homies that, hey man, I know a lot of people who down for the cause. It's a lot of people who not like that. But you know what? It's not enough. What you're failing to understand is this. That over 74 million people are diametrically opposed to you being treated fair. Did you hear what I said? Over 74 million active voters in the United States of America are diametrically opposed to you being treated like a human being. And that should be a problem not only to me, it should be a problem to you, it should be a problem to your family members, it should be a problem to everybody you know. But we don't do that. As a group, we continue to be splintered. And I don't like that. I understand that we are not a monolith, which, in my opinion, is the most asinine statement to make when you are a member of this community. Oh, we don't all think alike. We don't all do this. We don't all do that. Because you know what? That goes without saying that we are not robots. But guess what? When last time you seen anybody else from another community on TV saying what they are not in regards to unity, what they don't do in regards to unity, what they will not accept in regards to unity? You do something wrong to somebody in another community and they act like they are a monolith. We must. We have to. There will be no exceptions, but to present yourself as a monolith, even if you are not. With that being said, I want to talk about something that I truly believe is a worldwide joke. This is a honest to God joke, if you ask me. The honest to God joke to me is the fact that we're in the media, we're in the media, we're yelling at politicians, they're podcasters, much like myself, that are arguing and saying they need to raise the minimum wage. I've talked about this before, and I'm talking about it now. It is the most disrespectful thing in the history of the world, if you ask me. Why are we talking about raising the minimum wage when if you raise the minimum wage, then costs go up, and you're right back where you were? What you need to be doing is working on raising cultural awareness, raising healthcare. We need to be talking about reparations. And for the people who claim, oh man, they don't deserve reparations, that's crazy, da 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 da, to hell with them. I'm not debating with someone about becoming whole in a system in which everything you do at your house is because of me. I am not going to play the race card because I'm not playing the damn game. That's why I'm not going to play the race card, because the race card means nothing. What is the race card? What are we talking about when we talk about this proverbial race card? That means it's a game. That means we're playing. And I don't like that conversation. There's so many things. Let's be, like I said, reparations being the number one thing. Okay, slavery was a long time ago. Well, what wasn't a long time ago? What's the fact that in 1989, Oliver North stood on television and said, with the help of George Bush and the CIA, they flooded our community with crack cocaine? What about that? Is that good enough? Was that good enough? What about the fact that there's a such thing called redlining, Jim Crow segregation, the black laws, and things of that nature? Is that grounds for reparations? See, that's the thing. We keep having to explain to people why we were mistreated, and that was a long time ago. If that's the case, we don't want to hear a damn thing about anything else. The country came out of a depression at the end of the Second World War. The president at the time, Roosevelt, what he did was issue the New Deal. And this allowed people to get generational wealth. This allowed, by and large, most people who were coming from the war and a lot of white people to afford homes, which creates generational wealth. You've heard me speak about that before, right? We weren't able to get that until 1970. So if that's the case, we were not eligible for this until 1970. What about the people in between then? How many homes were created? How many refinances were had so you could pay for college? How many homes were left to people because they were trying to help out their young people in their lives? How many? See, these are the things that we really need to be talking about, because listen to what you're asking someone to do. I want you to give me enough money to barely squeak by. You don't want that. You don't want that. Minimum wage. Once upon a time, Chris Rock had this joke, and he was saying, minimum wage is literally the owner of that or proprietor of that business saying, if I could pay you less, I would. If I could pay you less, I would. Listen to this. And that's what we're arguing about. Oh, the money should be this way. The money should be that way. These are reasons why my community, we need to start just sitting back and paying attention to what's going on. We really should. We should start sitting back and just paying attention to what's going on. Because when we don't, people will tell us anything. People will disrespect us. People will tell us anything. People will run roughshod over everything we stand for and act as if they're not doing anything. See, they got you talking about minimum wage. In the meantime, they're attacking your voters' rights. They got you talking about minimum wage, and in the meantime, they have you speaking about the fact you're ignoring the fact that they haven't instituted a damn anti-lynching law that was written 100 years ago. We're not talking about these things. We're not talking about these things. I'm going to tell you a few things that we need to definitely be talking about in the near future, because it is insane that we're not talking about these things. So, yeah, the minimum wage, this, that, and the third. But as I stated, if the minimum wage is now $15, what about these small companies that can't afford to pay more than minimum wage? Has anybody thought about that? See, there's a wealth disparity, there's a wealth gap in the United States of America that most people are not willing to have a conversation about, which is truly sad. Tell you what, don't give us that. Don't give us a raise minimum wage. What you do is take the poor people in the community nationwide. This is what you do. You take all my working class brothers and sisters, create a program that helps them get in ahead. And I'm gonna talk about this. You know what? I'm gonna add on to what that last point in a second. How about this? Everybody who's working class who don't own their home, how about the government does, like, you know how they do closing, they do excusing of the student loans, right? How about this? You empower people to get a business started. And when you start this business, it's reconstruction, rebuilding of homes, redeveloping of homes, right? Now, keep the wage at minimum wage exactly where it is. If you lived in your place of residence 3, 4, 5 years, or your previous residence 3, if you just moved and moved somewhere else 3, 4, 5 years, we're gonna put you in a situation to whereas you can own a home, no matter what your credit is. Do it like a student loan. Y'all, we owe $1 quadrillion on student loans. How about you give us a homeowner's loan? Wow, how about that? Now, these dilapidated homes in our communities, coast to coast. Hey, the greatest, who's in my chat room, salute my brother. He's in my chat room. How about this? Hey, the greatest, you've been living at your house for 12 years. What we're gonna do is rehab this house. Fred from your community, who's a rehab specialist or construction guy, he's gonna start a business. He's gonna rehab all the homes. And then we're gonna find the people like the greatest and his wife, and we're gonna put them in the home. Teresa Rucker, we're gonna do you the same way. We're gonna renovate this house and put you in the home and give you a home loan that's equivalent to the rent that you're paying right now. Now you own the house. Now you're paying taxes. So all those vacant lots in your neighborhood, all those dilapidated homes, they're gone. Now you got working class people owning their homes. How about that? Don't give me more. Don't raise my minimum. Put me in a better standing, period. How about that? Would you be interested in that? Would that help people? You damn right it would help people, because the fastest way to create wealth in America is to put someone in a home that they own. Right. Because then the greatest is cleaning up his house. Then Miss Rucker is cleaning up her house. Then Ben is cleaning up his house. Then Big Illinois is cleaning up his house. Guess what happens after that? The property value goes up. And when the property value goes up, when your kids and your grandkids, when they don't scholarship into schools, guess what happens? You can refinance your house and get your kids college paid for. Or better yet, since there's more taxes coming into that community because there's more people living in that community, guess what? The schools will be financed through that community's taxes. So when a school like I went to that didn't have a foreign language, there's a foreign language teacher. And the schools out here without music programs, they don't have that. These are the things that will help us get ahead instead of giving us a higher minimum. My floor is raised. Is that what you really want me to live by? You want to raise my floor instead of removing the ceiling? These are the things that we need to be talking about. Raising minimum wage. This is legitimately the dog chasing his tail. I'm gonna say it again. This is the dog chasing his tail. If you really want to help people, if you really want people to be put in a better situation, you give them the ability to empower themselves. How do you empower yourself? With home ownership, with entrepreneurship, with taxes being raised, with better opportunities in the schools that are in their areas, putting you, your family, your friends, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, your buddies in a better situation. I don't want to make the highest minimum. I want to be paid. I want to be paid properly for the wage and the things that I'm doing at my current employer, putting myself in the best possible situation, making it so I can be as good as possible. Because guess what? If you're making $12 an hour and you're already paying this much rent, how about if you own that place? That $12 an hour is way better. But no, we're not doing that. We're not teaching people how to empower themselves in America. We're not teaching people that land ownership is the key to individual wealth. We're not teaching people that we continue to offer people Section 8. We continue to offer people welfare programs that they'll never be able to get out of. And then it's a generational situation like Bill Cosby disrespectfully spoke about. I don't have a problem with what Bill Cosby said. I have a problem with him saying it in front of the entire world. That's what my problem lies with Bill Cosby. But that's neither here nor there. We need to, we must, we have no other choice but to think outside the box. Because when you are thinking, when people have you thinking about minimum wage, that's what they don't have you thinking about. They don't have you thinking about the fact that 43 states in the United States of America are attacking your Voting Rights Act. We're not thinking about being on the call with the Fire Calls app, getting getting your state representative, getting your state senator, U.S. senator on the phone, and letting you know that you're under attack. See, they slid it by to see how good it would go in Georgia, but there are 43 other of the 50 states. Next to up is Arizona and Philadelphia. See, because they think those were the stronghold of the Republican Party. I don't give a damn about any of those parties. So please don't confuse it, because I know some people in the back. See, none of them do us right. I don't give a damn about either party. I give a damn about my damn people. See, you can argue about that other stuff on your time. I have no time for the nonsense. Please, thank you. Please excuse me. Keep it moving. Have a good day. But these are the things that we need to be focusing on. Our voting don't count. Hey, have you ever tried to take a sandwich from a homeless man? You know why you have never tried to do that? Have you ever tried to beat up a 4-year-old? You know why you don't try to beat up 4-year-olds and take advantage of homeless people and run roughshod over people who don't have the advantage over you, or whatever they can do not affect you? Because it can't affect you. Because it cannot affect you. But when you start attacking things that the whole world say ain't important, then you have to wonder. See, what they're doing is setting this up. At this point, I'll be honest with those people. Voting don't count. Dang, rap. What you mean voting don't count? Shout out to DJ Ramal. Shout out to my man, Big Illinois. And shout out to the #1 Chief Rock and Jersey Grind. But You know why they keep telling you that their voting don't count? Because they're setting you up so voting won't count in the future. You see what I'm saying? Because it's easy for them to say, for you to discourage you as much as possible and say, voting don't count, voting don't count. I got Big Chief in the building, much love. Voting don't count, voting don't count. This is not important. But when you say it's not important not because voting doesn't work. It's because those people in the U.S. Senate and Congress, state representative, and all those places all over the United States of America who pretend to have your back don't. They don't. They don't. That's why voting doesn't count, not the process. See, but if I make it more difficult for you to vote, if I put you in what we call in the neighborhood a trick bag and make it so you can't vote, then bam, there it is. You won't vote because you've been discouraged. Meanwhile, they're voting, getting everything they want done, and putting themselves in the best possible situation in life. So while you are arguing and debating and going back and forth with things, saying what is and what is not going to work, they are making it so these things are impossible to work. They're making it so you and people who look like you will be frustrated, discouraged, and overlook the entire process. Now, even though these people don't have your best interest in mind, even though these people are not doing what they are supposed to do to make sure your life is great, if you use the system, if you have a list of 100 things and you use the system to argue about three, you argue about 100 and you get three, then you've done your job as a citizen of the United States of America. My name, thank you. Oh, that's Miss, that's the girl, his gift. What's good, his gift? I hope you're feeling better. Much love, much love, much love. It's my girl right there, man. I hope you're feeling better. You know I got your back. Trey Naturals in the building. Thank you for supporting the show. Please hit that like button. Please hit that share button. Tell a friend that we in the building. Now, these are things that we need to talk about. And this next thing is going to initially sound as if, well, why are you talking about this rap? This has nothing to do with our community. This girl, Bad Baby. Don't nobody know who Bad Baby is when I say Bad Baby. But you will understand who she is when you hear this. Cash Me Outside. That's Bad Baby. Bad Baby made $1 million in 6 hours yesterday because she got a fans only page and charging people to come on her page, and bam, she made $6 million. The reason I'm talking about this, it seems on the outside rap. You talking this black stuff, and you gonna bring up this little trash white girl. Nope, that ain't what I'm doing. What I'm doing is this, showing you that the propaganda behind the nonsense that goes on in America is designed to get you to not like you. They tell you, we need to stop listening to this dumbass rap music because it's fucking up our kids, right? See, they ignorant on TV. It's messing up our kids. See, they need to do better. Rap back in the day, it wasn't like that. That's what you're being told, right? And then then they throw in my favorite. Black on black crime, right? They do that. That's what y'all do. Y'all fall for the okie doke every time. Y'all do it every time, and then I come on here and say, yo, that's not real. That's not real, man. We got to get up out of here with this nonsense, right? But what this is proof positive that it's not us, because it ain't a whole lot of people in the hood looking for Bad Baby, because first and foremost, we don't know who Bad Baby is. Second of all, most people in the hood said they should have slapped that little girl teeth all the way out of her mouth, right? Third and most important, this is proof positive that ratchet, ignorant, foolish madness of rap music that people are listening to is not being patronized exclusively by our folks. This lets you know that when you see violence perpetrated on the street, it's not just us. When you see foolishness perpetrated on the streets, it's not just us. Because I don't think it's 45 million black people. We buy a lot of nonsense, tight ass pants for dudes, girls with the joints all out, the whole get down, right? But we not supporting Bad Baby. So who's supporting them? The same people that's buying that madness music, the same people that's keeping that music at the top of the charts, not your nieces, nephews, sons, daughters, cousins, and neighbors. So the next time you see exclusive violence on the television, about the black community, keep in mind the very people that's buying Bad Baby are the people that's putting this in front of you. Again, the very people who's shopping with Bad Baby, supporting Bad Baby, Catch Me Outside, the whole get down, are equally violent, equally nefarious, equally disingenuous, equally disrespectful. The whole night, everything they try to hang on us. The fact that this girl made $1 million in 6 hours, $1 million in 6 hours of being live. They saw her act a damn fool, and one of the same people that see our people act a fool, they pumped up out there and said, hey, I can get you $166,000 an hour and you'll be in the building. But who's talking about it? We're talking about Megan and Cardi and the Migos and any other mumble rap or the nonsense rap, the stuff that we allegedly hate, but we seem to understand it. But I ain't tripping. These are the things that I'm talking about. So stop allowing the powers that be to develop your mind. It's called television programming for a reason. They program you through the idiot box. They program your mind through the idiot box. So when they talk about black on black violence, see, we need, hey man, the police shot us, but when we gonna stop shooting each other? The same day everybody else on the earth is gonna stop shooting each other. Who's killing Asians? Who's killing Jews? Who's killing all forms of Europeans? Because we're busy killing us, right? We're selling all the drugs, right? Even though the drug business is a multi-billion-dollar business. Number one problem in America today, for the last 5 years, human trafficking. You think the Crips, Bloods, GDs, and Vice Lords is doing that? No. It's another crime organization out there doing it, but you never hear about it. You never hear about it, and you keep falling for the same nonsense. People, we're going to have to get a whole lot smarter, man. We're going to have to get a lot smarter because I'll tell you what, just keep listening to me, man. I'm going to put you up on game, and then you put somebody else up on game, and you tell them to come in, you tell them to give a salute, just like I gave to my man, DJ Mad, not saying his mom. We still praying, and I know my man doing a little better, but we still praying for you, my brother. There it is. Now, next up, the Capitol building. This is what people in mainstream media, and these are these racist white people who always talk about, see, black people are the problem, black people complain too much, y'all overreacting. It's not like that. You gotta shut your white mouth. I'm not kidding you. That's what I'm talking about. But here we go. The Capitol building was hit by one car, and for the last, 8 weeks now? It's been 8 weeks. For the last 8 weeks, you've heard just about every black person in the United States of America say, shit, if it was us who stormed the Capitol, they'd have killed us. One black dude in one car hit a barricade. He murdered, he killed a cop. Rest in peace, homie, or whatever your name is. And he got out of the car with a knife, with his hands up, and they shot him down. 2 questions. Why did I know that was a black dude, and why did I see his face yesterday? Well, actually, a few questions. Why do I know who that black dude is? I saw his face yesterday, right? Why do I know he's black? That's the first question. Second question, why don't I know what the dude who beat a cop to death in the same situation during a riot, storming the government, attempting to take over the United States government January 6th? Well, I don't know what that dude looked like. Interesting. We know exactly what the brother looked like, but we don't know what the other looked like. And y'all want us to be like, oh man, it's just the way it is, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's interesting that this white man who beat a cop to death, he literally took a flagpole and beat a police officer to death. Blue Lives Matter, remember? But I don't know who that white man is. I didn't see that white man's face. But this brother who ran over a barricade and killed a cop yesterday, we know exactly who he is. Now, call me crazy, but an entire police unit versus one dude with a knife, shouldn't he have been able to get tased and taken down? Oh no, but see, he killed a cop, right? See, you tripping, rap. He killed a cop, right? Okay, cool. He killed a cop. You took this white boy home who shot 3 sets of people in Atlanta. You took him home. You took that white boy home, and I'm not saying their names because they ain't getting no love with me. We know who they are. The dude who, for those who think this was just an act of terror, please miss me with that nonsense. Because the first one, dude who attacked the Asian places, nobody's talking about the fact that those Asian places are being under investigation by the United States federal government for sex crimes. We ain't talking about that. We talking about say the Asians. We talking about the brothers need to stop beating on the Asians. We get mad at other black people for not joining that fight. Think about it. The next thing, the dude who did it at the AME church, one of the oldest churches in America, a little history on that church. It was started by a brother by the name of Denmark Vesey, who created the largest enslaved African revolt against these people owners, these oppressors, these colonizers in the history of the United States of America. 3,600 people. Denmark Vesey started that church. Now, Denmark Vesey started that church, right? Damn. And guess what? Just so happened to be the day before old boy walked his ass in that church was the day before the anniversary of that. Oh, but he was just crazy and he was just trying to start a race war. Things are calculated for a reason. Don't believe that people are just doing these things because they're crazy and they don't have nothing else to do and see, it's just coincidental and he snapped. The largest slave revolt in the history of the country was the day after he shot up those people in the church. Well, you can't draw that line because why he didn't do it that day? Because Bible study wasn't on the anniversary. He wouldn't have been able to kill as many people. He walked into this church, pretended to like those people. That was a plan, and this is part of what I'm going to talk about a little later. This is why we must educate ourselves. This is why we must put ourselves in the best possible position. This is why we must know these things, because when you know these things, you empower yourself. When you empower yourself, you won't be cheated. When you won't be cheated, you will be in a better situation. With that being said, speaking of better situation, man, shout out to Major League Baseball for removing the All-Star game from Atlanta, Georgia. If you can hear or detect the sarcasm of my voice, that's exactly what it is. I don't give a damn about that Major League Baseball because guess what? Major League Baseball is probably the third, sometimes the fourth highest rated sporting event in the United States of America. Guess when they used to be number one? Between 1947 and about 2000, 99, 2000. Guess what was happening during that period? Oh, it was this guy by the name of Rod Carew. It was this guy by the name of Willie Mays. It was this guy by the name of Hank, late great ancestor Hank Aaron. It was a guy by the name of Doc Ellis. It was a guy by the name of Roberto Clemente. It was a guy by the name of Joe Morgan who just recently transitioned. Do you see what I mean? This is a guy by the name of Bobby Bonds with his son Barry Bonds, the Lou brothers. Y'all understand where I'm going with this? When the brothers was there, they were doing better. So now they're trying to endear themselves. It's called pandering. When you pretend to give a damn about somebody in hopes that they'll reciprocate and say, shit, when I ain't had nothing, in Major League Baseball, they stepped up. And a lot of people are framing it that way. No, sorry, I'm not framing it that way. Because guess what? Major League Baseball, you still be in the Dominican Republic next month recruiting and scouting. And you'll still be in Central America recruiting and scouting and financing. You'll still be in Puerto Rico recruiting, scouting and financing and looking for the youngest, cheapest, blackest talent. So if you really gave a fuck about the voting rights, you'd have spoke up before it happened. If you really gave a damn about anything that was pertaining to the black community, all of those baseball academies that you put in the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico and Central America and South America and Canada, guess what you would have done? You would have did the same thing here in Chicago, in Los Angeles, in Boston, New York, Georgia, Miami, Tampa, Dallas, Houston, Phoenix, all over the United States of America. And then it would be more people that look like me engaged. And then they'll be on TV. And then your fake gesture would have been considered an act of kindness. But that's neither here nor there. You can believe it. You can think I'm a conspiracy theorist if you like. But at the end of the day, me and you both know what time it is. Major League Baseball, I don't need no help from you. faking like you need it because you need me, and I'm gonna need all y'all who think Major League Baseball doing the thing.
Shut your white mouth. I'm not kidding you.
Exactly, because you need to shut your white mouth because y'all not telling me nothing. With that being said, the companies, there are a few companies right there in Georgia. Their hub headquarters, they are in Georgia. Coca-Cola, the largest soft drink company in the world. Delta, one of the largest airlines in the world. UPS and Home Depot. Where are the people at Home Depot speaking up for this? Hey, owner Walter Blanks or Arthur Blanks or whatever your name is. You own a football team that's 70% black. You really give a damn about us? Why don't you speak up against? Because now we're wondering. Coca-Cola, you got Michael Jordan, you've had LeBron James, you've had countless athletes, entertainers doing the Coca-Cola diet, Coke and all that nonsense, dancing for your product. You're at McDonald's, you're doing all that stuff, you're giving out money. But if you really gave a damn, why didn't you speak up before this? Because the very people that need to buy your product, the very people that need to get Coca-Cola, they can't vote now, or it's more difficult for them to vote. So guess what? We're going to keep that noted. And then, Delta. The airline industry is struggling right now. Yeah, American Airlines has done some nefarious things to us in the hub. There's more than one hub in Atlanta. Second line, it hovers between here, Atlanta Airport, and Chicago, Illinois, O'Hare Airport. They hover between the number one and number two busiest airports in the world, right? Well, how about this? Black folks, y'all ignoring the COVID thing anyway. Y'all jumping on planes and y'all enjoying yourself and y'all do what y'all got to do. I have no judgment for you. My name ain't God. I don't have no heaven and hell to put you in. But what I do want you to do is this. Don't touch another Coke. Don't go to Home Depot unless you have to. Go to Menards or wherever they got it. UPS, start using FedEx and Delta. We're not riding that no more. See, we continue to allow people to disregard us, put us in horrible situations, put us in situations to whereas we're not the priority because we're never speaking up, arguing, cussing, and fighting about these things, right? But it's not important to us because we're not speaking up, arguing, cussing, and fighting about it. So when these people come along, I'm not telling you, if Coke offer your child a scholarship or something of that nature, take that money. But don't drink the drink. See, there's a lot of things that we do. We over-index in most things. 25% of us are on Twitter. Excuse me, 25%. Yeah, 25% of us are on Twitter. Actually, like 26. 35% of us on Facebook. 35% of us on Instagram. Do you understand that's almost half the people? It's 25% of half the people. We don't make up that percentage of people in the United States of America. We don't make up that percentage of people in a lot of places now. If you want to look at Africans, we're the growing majority. That's just plain and simple. But if we're over-indexing on these things, if we withdraw, then what happens? Then what happens, people? These are the plans that we must look into. These are the plans that we must look into. Because if we're not willing to withdraw our support, if we're not willing to do what we're supposed to do in order to be the most productive community humanly possible, whose fault is it that we don't get support? Whose fault is it that our community's falling apart? It's our fault. I'm asking you people to participate. I'm asking you to do what you have to do to survive. And I'm asking you to do what you have to do to make sure we are on top at all times. Period. That's the end of it. With that being said, this is the most important. This is the second most important topic on the docket today. There's an infrastructure plan by Joe. It's a Save America plan. Joe is putting trillions of dollars into the United States of America to fix roads and a whole host of things. People in Congress are fighting this, state representatives as well as state senators. They're fighting this tooth and nail. They don't want this plan to see the light of day. Again, this is a diversion to stop us thinking about reparations. We know that. We understand what's going on. True indeed. But I want you to do this. This is when you download that 5 apps app that I've asked you for months on end to download and find out just how this money will be distributed. The reason you're going to find out how this money will be distributed is because if they're going to do over 20,000 miles of roads in the United States of America, some of those contracts need to be given out to people that look like me and you. If they're going to do 170 million for education, we need to be on the phones with our state representatives, making sure our community gets some of that $170 million. See, when they're rolling out these fictitious plans that are going to help the Black community, not a problem. But how is it going to help us? We need to be going on smallbusinessassociation.com, SBA, instead of SBA, and find out what kind of contracts will be available. So you can start a company in construction. You can start a company in education. You can start some of these companies so we won't be left behind. See, it's easy to say we're going to help out the Black community. And see, this is what I was telling y'all about earlier. When we get if he gets this couple $1 trillion dispersed, right? Not a problem, Joe. They need bridges rebuilt. Need to be some Black people know how to do rebuilding of the bridges. We need this. But this is what I'm saying in regards to the homes in your community. If they're going to do infrastructure, you need to have something to rehabilitate homes and put new windows in people's homes and reconstruct the dilapidated properties in your community and put people in those properties. Lend out some money to disenfranchised working class people so they can move into those places, rehab those places. And guess what? The companies that are going to rehab those places should look like me and you. The owner should look like me and you. See, it's easy to wheel out this plan and say what you're going to do for our community, but we must be engaged. How do you get engaged, though, Rap? This is how you get engaged. You go to join your NCAA and your Urban League. Man, they ain't going to help nobody, but that's why you go to the meetings. These are non-for-profit organizations. Guess what that means? That means every dime that they bring in has to be accounted for. That means that you can go look at their C99 and find out where the money resides. Like, oh boy, where the money resides. We need to know that. And then when you say, hey, well, such and such, built for this network, they offered y'all, they gave y'all $3 million. Where did that money go to? This is what we need to do. See, we have to get off the sideline and get put in the game. Because if you're in the game, you're in the game. But we can't continue to laterally argue with each other. Hey, they ain't never gonna do this. They ain't never. You know why they never gonna do anything? Because all you're doing is talk to your friends, complain. You go to the Urban League, you can take over the Urban League. You can take over your branch of the Urban League and find out what they're doing. You can take over your branch of the NAACP and find out what they're doing. See, it's not enough to argue and complain anymore. It's enough to make sure we get taken care of. If you don't believe it, don't. Hey, man, I can't make you believe anything. But if you don't believe it, don't. But I'm here to tell you, if you don't be a part of an organization, don't complain about it. Don't complain about it. Oh, he ain't this and he ain't that. Don't complain about it. That's not what we're here for. We're here to get results. We're here to get answers. We're here to take action. And we're here to move forward. With that being said, here is your Black History topic of the week. I'll be back in about 6 minutes and we'll continue the show.
The contributions to American society by people of African descent is not often spoken about, but on the occasion when it is acknowledged, it's often done in the context of culture. Black inventors, especially Black men, have had a very odd plight when they decide to enter into the realm of human advancement through technology. While their inventions may bring considerable wealth, they sometimes become socially and economically ostracized. And so today, I wanted to speak a little about this history. What up, African world? It's Home Team here, and welcome back to another video of African history, culture, and worldview. By supporting this channel on Patreon, you're helping in the creation of these videos and supporting this content. If you'd like access to full courses and sources, or you simply want to show your support, you may do so by clicking the Patreon link in the description box below. I wanted to focus this video on the great American inventor, Granville Woods. The insight by Michael C. Christopher from the University of Texas at Austin will be the foundation of the information presented. We all know the intelligence of African people and their descendants have been ridiculed and demonized, to say the least. The very idea of black people in America contributing to the field of science was largely viewed as a joke. This adulterated perspective was strong in the 1800s, especially when black inventors began contributing to American civilization. Just to give you guys an idea, a popular candidate for Congress in the 19th century once said in reference to black people that no one of the race had ever reached the dignity of an inventor. Recognition of black inventors was virtually non-existent, especially during enslavement. Enslaved individuals were not allowed to receive patents or assign them to others. They were not allowed to enter into contracts with the government because they were not considered citizens, let alone human. Because of this, many black inventors during slavery and after were ignored and their inventions credited to others. This American legacy of disparaging and disrespecting the agency of black inventors unfortunately led some to even deny their blackness in fear that their invention would decline in commercial value. Henry Baker was vocal about the general public's ignorance concerning black inventors. He was an African American man who was a second assistant examiner at the patent office in the 1800s. He claimed that the white people in charge would keep black inventors hidden by identifying them as having white or non-black ancestors. Fortunately for us, Granville Woods fell through the cracks. He was so exceptional that it was hard to ignore. Granville put to use his knowledge of electronics, chemistry, and physics to design several of the era's great inventions. The attention he drew, of course, was not without controversy, however. Due to the extensive racism and denial of black intellect, the Cosmopolitan magazine reported that Woods' maternal grandfather was a Malay Indian, and that his other grandparents were Australian Aborigines, anything to deny his Africanness. On June 3, 1884, Granville was granted his first patent for a steam boiler furnace. Woods created devices that involved the conversion of electricity into useful and economic functions. He created an incubator that was described as the forerunner of present machines, capable of hatching 50,000 eggs at a time. He also patented many transmission devices from telephones to telegraphs. Granville contributed to the area of circuit designs and the generation of electricity. His knowledge of chemistry allowed him to invent the galvanic battery, a battery that produced electricity through chemical reactions. During his lifetime, he patented about 50 inventions and devices, many of them related to electric railways, which gave him the most recognition and praise. He no doubt revolutionized the railroad and electric railway industries with his fantastic work. His development of the so-called third rail used in electric railways increased the safety of the nation's entire system. His most contested invention at the time came to be known as the induction telegraph system. The device was designed for the purpose of averting accidents by keeping each train informed of the whereabouts of the one immediately ahead or following it, in communicating with the stations from moving trains, and in promoting general social and commercial intercourse. Before Granville's invention, trains apparently had little to no assistance in locating the whereabouts of other trains, so accidents would happen frequently. This invention certainly got attention, and once he made his move to market the product through his company, he was challenged in 2 court cases by Thomas Edison, who claimed rights to the induction telegraph. In both court cases, Granville beat Thomas Edison and was recognized by the U.S. Patent Office as the inventor. This event can be seen as a blessing and a curse, because although he received high praise and generated wealth, he was not able to compete economically in the long run. The duality of 19th century racism and legitimate corporate competition funded by centuries of slave money rendered Granville and other black inventors unable to keep up, and so he found it better to sell his inventions to larger white-owned corporations. White society, possessing the ability to control the inventions created by black men, also possessed the power to control the potential of the inventors themselves. Woods and other black inventors were allowed to contribute to society as inventors, but not as businessmen. By minimizing the black inventors' participation in the American corporate system, white society was able to control the growth of the black companies concerned with technology. Despite being a victim of his time, Granville Woods is an excellent testament to black intellect, and his name deserves to be remembered amongst our children. I'd like to think we can learn from the story of Granville, even though, as mentioned before, his time did not allow him to shine in the way he should have. I also think we have less roadblocks on our journey to ownership today. Just something to keep in mind. Well, I'm all out, guys. If you like these videos and want to help in its continued production, consider supporting the home team on patreon.com. The link is in the description box below. Know thyself. Remember your ancestors. Peace.
This is your man HRap coming back at you live and direct, Late Rent Live Music Studios. This is Built for This Network, and I am at the End of the Bench podcast, Build and Destroy, where we build our community, enhance the things about it, and destroy the lies of propaganda that are attached to us. Thank you for tuning in again. If you are watching, thank you very much. Please, if you're watching on Spreaker, I'm going to need you to hit the like button. Hit the like button and share. If you are watching on YouTube, do me and you a favor, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Then what I want you to do is subscribe to the YouTube channel, go to that bell that's right next to it, set those alerts so when I come on, you'll know that I'm coming on. You won't miss anything. And always remember, this is a podcast in which you can watch 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can go to Spotify. You can go to Spreaker.com, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, or wherever you download your podcast. Thank you for tuning in. It's me. I'm back. It's rap. I'm in the groove. Now, I'm finna take myself out of the groove because it's this point I am finna disrespect a black man. You will not see me do this often, but today I must disrespect this black man. He is a black man. No matter how hard he tries, no matter how hard he caters to the oppressors and bootlegs and attempts to be in mainstream media. This is the perfect example of a person who hates himself. The reason I say he hates himself is because one, Jason Whitlock does everything he can to speak a disparaging word about everybody in our community. Look, you've listened to the show. If you haven't listened to the show, you've heard me say dozens, if not hundreds of times, hey man, if you disagree, you disagree. That's your right. I don't give a damn if you disagree with me or not. But what we have to do is respect each other's opinion. With that being said, I'm about to sound like a hypocrite because one Jason Whitlock does, he goes out of his way to understand the oppression that goes on in the community. He talks about, if they talk about anything, he talks about drugs. And if they talk about this, he talks about black on black crime. Whatever he does, he offers up the white supremacist, the white nationalist point of view on whatever's going on. And it's disturbing. It's sickening. It brings about total discomfort and anger to my day each and every day, right? But what we have to do is start calling out this guy and other people that are just like him, because what he's doing is making it dangerous for your kids to walk the street. You don't believe me? This is what he said on Twitter the other day. 2 people should be on trial, Derek Chauvin and George Floyd drug dealer. They got nothing on the cops, especially the rookie cops. What killed George Floyd? Drugs or knee to the neck. We must trust what science tells us or not. 66% of the people that responded to his Twitter poll said the drugs killed George Floyd, not the knee. Now, I got some conservative friends. One of my closest friends is conservative. Me and him argue time and time again. We yell and scream at each other at an alarming rate. If you heard a conversation between me and one of my good friends, there would be no way in hell you would assume that this is one of my closest friends. He's not a coon. He's not a sellout. He's one of the downest brothers you'll ever meet. But he has a conservative point of view. And sometimes it leans towards the middle of the road, or he goes with the quote unquote logical way to go. And I get it. It's a difference in opinion. I understand. But there are other times in which, like this one, he was like, my man is crazy as hell. The reason I have a problem with Jason Whitlock is this. A scientist does not have to tell me what's going on in regards to the murder of George Floyd. I don't need any forensic experts. I don't need any doctors telling me anything. All I know is this. Common sense tells me this. Playing around with my buddies tells me this. Being a person who grew up watching the NWA, not the NWA, the AWA wrestling and the WWF wrestling and whatever it was down in Georgia, wrestle with the Junkyard Dog and those dudes. We learned early in life, if you watch wrestling, if you choke somebody long enough, they'll go to sleep. It's called a sleeper move. You cut off the oxygen for an extended period of time, and they go down. It usually only takes about 25, 30 seconds to put somebody to sleep. Now, with that being said, it only takes 25, 30 seconds to put somebody to sleep because you cut off the amount of oxygen going to the brain and it makes the body shut down. Then when you let go, you start breathing normally again and you come up out of it. What would 9.5 minutes do for you? It would kill you. In most cases, you see somebody drown, they get them out of the water, and then they take them to the hospital, and they're on the machine, beep, beep, beep. Oh, well, what do they tell you? Well, we may not be able to do anything for your relative because there's too much oxygen cut off to the brain, and they'll never be the same, right? You've heard that. You've heard that time and time again. So keeping your knee on the neck of a human being is inhumane. I don't need a forensic expert. I don't need a coroner. I don't need a doctor. I don't need anyone to tell me. I don't need a scientist. I don't need a biologist. I don't need anybody to tell me that. And if you are on the side of George Floyd, him being held on the ground like that didn't kill him, how about this then? Please explain to me why George Floyd is dead and the two dudes and the two guys who shot up the Asian places in the church, they got to go home. The dude from Illinois who went up to Wisconsin and stalked two people, he went home. But George Floyd allegedly had a fake 20 in his pocket and he's dead. And then we come to find out that the 20 wasn't even fake. So if we're going to play this game, we must play it authentically. See, Jason, this is why people call you a bootlegger. People call you a coon. People call you a Tom. Well, they shouldn't call you a Tom because Uncle Tom in that story is actually a hero. So they shouldn't call you. They should call you what was his name? Gumbo and another dude. I can't think his name. Gumbo and another dude who actually killed Uncle Tom for not snitching on runaway slaves. Fun fact. But these are the things that we must pay attention to. And if you're attempting to assimilate, and what my last topic is really going to give you carte blanche of everything that I'm talking about like that. We must start ostracizing people like this. We must no longer speak publicly about these people. See, this is the time in which you can laterally complain about a Jason Whitlock, because Jason Whitlock says these kinds of things, in my personal opinion, so he could get the black community riled up and it make sure people pay attention to him, just like the one lady and then the other dude. I'm not going to say their names because I wouldn't say this dude's name, otherwise this story. But these are the reasons that the ending of my show this evening are extremely important. They are extremely important because we are in jeopardy because of this. Because what people like Jason Whitlock does is empower white nationalists, he empower undercover bigots, he empowers tons of people to make them feel as if mistreating us and disrespecting us is something that is good to do. And it's okay and it's fine because look at him. He's on TV. It has to be true. My next to last thing to talk about is Michael Rappaport. Is this important? No, it's not really, but it is. Michael Rappaport, like the girl I spoke about at the top of the show, the little baby the Catch Me Outside girl who exploited the system of foolishness and made $1 million in 6 hours. Michael Rappaport is doing the same thing. Now, as I was speaking to one of my good friends, my main man, Big Illinois, earlier, the Tribe Called Quest documentary was dope. That's cool. That's cool. But guess what? A lot of those Clint Eastwood movies were dope too. But what is he? See, this is why we have to close the cookout, y'all. I was disappointed in Michael Rappaport this week. Him and our brother Kevin Durant, who is, and in my opinion, is a bit sensitive. He overreacts to a lot of things, but that's neither here nor there. Because our brother and this man were having a debate, a dispute, an argument, or whatever you want to call it, in the inbox. The inbox means this is interpersonal. Nobody should know what's going on. I didn't read what was going on in the inbox. Michael Rappaport gets upset and posts what was in the inbox. This damages Kevin Durant's reputation. This is, I'm a Nick Cannon you. This is blowing the whistle on you, exposing you. And this is totally disrespecting the man code. And what I mean by the man code is this. As men, if we have 9 times out of 10, or hell, at this point, 6 times out of 10, when a man is engaging with another man, it's between those two men. We shouldn't have an issue with XYZ and ABC publicly. See, but this is the generation we're living in. But seeing how Kevin Durant is in his early 30s and Michael Rappaport is about 50 years old, like yours truly, this is something that should have never hit the airwaves. But see, it's no problem with Michael Rappaport, who claims to be gangster, who claim, he don't claim to be gangster, but he claims to be hood and street and keeps it real and this, that, and the third. And I'm Michael Rappaport. I'm a big bad New Yorker. And man, yada, 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 this, that, and the third. Okay, cool, Mike. But you know street culture, you're hip hop, did everything under the sun. Like I said, Michael Rappaport is 51 years old. So why did you bring the public into this, Mr. Rappaport? Because that ain't hood. That ain't hip hop. That ain't street culture. Because you tried to destroy this man's life. If he said something about your wife, you're supposed to check them about it or disengage and say, you know what, man, I thought me and you were cool, but I ain't rocking with you no more. And if anybody ever say anything about that man, you disrespect it. You dismiss it, excuse me. But you didn't. You attempt to embarrass this dude. You disrespected him. You put him in a situation to whereas he may have to explain himself now. And the truly sad thing is, because of you exposed what he said on and publicly in the DM, guess what else you did, Mr. Rappaport? You cost him $50K. His reputation has never been the greatest in regards to doing the right thing socially, but I don't give a damn. I'm just here to watch him play basketball. I don't care about what Kevin Durant does socially. I don't care about how Kevin Durant handles things with his friends. I don't care about any of that stuff. I care about him playing basketball. And if me and anybody that I know get into it, it shouldn't affect you. See, these are the things that we always think these guys are the cool guys. Oh man, he cool, he down, we're gonna invite him to the cookout. No, I'm not inviting nobody to the cookout. If you weren't born into the cookout or if you weren't married to the cookout, you can't come to the cookout. Sorry. You got to be dating somebody or have to be genetically predisposed to be at the cookout. No more outside invitations. Yeah, if you already here at the cookout, cool, you can come. But we ain't inviting nobody else. Or we shouldn't invite nobody else. Because guess what? Well, have we been invited to the cotillion? Have we been invited to the damn country club? Have we been invited to any of the stuff that y'all rock with? Hell no, you ain't never seen nobody in no other culture say, hey man, you can come to bar mitzvah, the bat mitzvah, the cotillion, the country club. Man, you're such a down guy. We don't do that. We don't do that. We ain't getting no invitations to nobody's damn community outings. Nobody is standing up for us. We already look, y'all got mad as hell when they said don't kill the Asians, but then y'all sit y'all asses around and want to invite people to the cookout. Why? This dude attempted to destroy our brother's reputation, and y'all still inviting outsiders to the cookout. Now, if you got a non-African descent significant other, she come to the cookout because you vetted her, or she's vetted him. But all these, oh man, you damn no, no more invites. And if anybody don't like it, I need to just let you know.
Shut your white mouth. I'm not kidding you.
That's how I feel. You know what I mean? Because this is what's wrong with the community. Look, we ain't here to make no enemies. And as my man Mike Neal just said in the chat room, no new friends. And I know that's kind of contradicting what I said Tuesday, that we need to be friends with as many people that look like this. We don't have no time to make enemies with us. You can have disagreements. You can be offended. But we ain't making no more enemies, man. But y'all want to keep inviting these clowns to the cookout, and they get there and they steal stuff. Look, Granville Woods got beat out the walkie-talkie. Look, when you talk about the walkie-talkie, nobody talks about Granville Woods. If you want to talk about the cell phone, the cordless phone, the walkie-talkie, that's Granville Woods. If I invented the walkie-talkie, that goes right in line with the cell phone. That goes right in line with the cell phone and the cordless phone, or cordless phone, then cell phone. You don't get that because y'all invited somebody to the cookout because they seem cool. And guess what? You got rocked. So y'all keep inviting these people to the cookout. Tell you what, if they don't come with you as your plus one, your ass, you bring two, you ain't getting in. How about that? This week, I was thoroughly disappointed. I want to see if I can pull this up to show you why I was disappointed. I think I can pull this up. Yes, I'm going to be able to pull it up. I'm about to pull up a video for you guys. I want you guys to hear this. And when you hear this, you'll understand why I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted by this video, but I'm not shocked. I'm not disgusted by the video. I'm disgusted by the reaction to the video. You dig? Because we always figure out a way to forgive folks. I'm not forgiving nobody. At this point, good people, I'm not forgiving nobody else. Because you know why? Do you understand why I'm not going to forgive anybody else? Because it's not appropriate. It's not appropriate to forgive people that do you wrong knowingly. See, there's one thing to forgive somebody because, hey man, I cracked this joke and it seemed kind of weird. And Brian, he overreacted. And then you go, you know what, my bad, Brian, man. I didn't mean to disrespect you in that matter. Right? That's one thing to do that. But when you attack my sisters and my brothers purposely, and then you get exposed, there will be no forgiveness. Not from me. Not from me, people. Because you're only sorry because you got caught. You're not upset because you made the mistake. Because if you were upset because you made the mistake, guess what would have happened? You wouldn't have done what you did. Right now, I'm about to play this video for you, brothers and sisters. And you can be, this could be you can bring it to you can make the decision on your own. Is this a person that needs to be forgiven? Or is this person that needs to be taken behind the woodshed and something done to? Here you go.
Year-old boy who was caught up in all of this. I'm told that before this all started, this student was an
Let me restart this.
Caught up in all of this. I'm told that before this all started, this student was an honor student, and then the pandemic hit. And that's when students were stopped being allowed to come here to this school in Palmdale. This is Desert Willow Middle School. That's when he started having problems, apparently, connecting his laptop for remote learning. His mother reached out to one of his teachers for help during a Zoom meeting. When it was over, the teacher apparently forgot to disconnect, and this is what was heard.
I mean, his parents, two kind of pieces of shit there. Black. He's black. They're black family. Your son has learned to lie to everybody and make excuses.
Are you
to be funny? Because you taught him to make excuses that nothing is false. This is what black people did. This is what black people did. White people do it too, but black people do it way more.
That was science teacher Kimberly Newman back in January. We understand she resigned from the school a few days later, but now the mother of that 12-year-old boy, Keturah Stokes, has filed a claim against the Palmdale School District, saying this racist rant is outrageous and heartbreaking, and that shows how students of color are unfairly treated by the educational system. The attorney representing the family says the mom in this case is a single mom of two, and like so many, she has struggled during the pandemic to keep her kids learning and thriving. And that during this teacher's rant, which went on and on, the mom started recording because she didn't think anyone would believe her without proof.
And then she eventually called the principal while the teacher was still ranting on and spoke to him and put him on speakerphone while the teacher was calling. And unbelievably, at some point, one staff person from the school calls the teacher towards the end of the Zoom call and says, you know, there's a parent that's been recording this. Have you been making obscenities and profanities and saying these things about a student? And she denies it. She denies it altogether, and then she exits out of the Zoom call.
We just heard back from the school district, and they have no new comments about this case. Back when this first happened in January, the district acknowledged the incident and said the family was offered an apology and counseling. Now, the school district has 45 days to respond to this claim before any lawsuit can be filed. I'm Lynette Rivera reporting in Palmdale. I'm send it back to you.
Now, you see that. You hear that.
Please don't mistake my confidence factor.
Y'all see that. Y'all hear that. Next person, run that nonsense to me about, I want my kids to be in a good school and a good community. You're getting that. Remember, 2 weeks ago, I told y'all the story about the white boys invite the young brother over, beat him up with I don't even, they put hands and feet on. That's what it was. They put hands and feet on the young brother and then say, hey, man, here goes something to drink. And it was urine. Then last week, well, Tuesday, you heard me tell y'all about the headmaster at the school who told the young brother to get on all fours and said he thought that was the way that black people apologize to each other because somebody told him that. And it goes on. Before that, the white lady at the school who said the young brother who was 5 years old, they had him picking up feces out of toilet with his hand because he used too much toilet paper. See, go ahead. Hey, man, all y'all who I'm moving to the better neighborhood, see black people don't know how to act. Oh, but guess what? When you get to these other schools, they making your kid drink urine, they bullying your kid, they beating up your kid, they making your kid get down on all the floor and demoralizing them. They treating them like trash. But hey, the education is good. But guess what? You need to refinance your house because you have to put your kid through therapy because he was in the better school. Oh man, they act a fool in the black schools. Go, hey, I'm not here to convince you of nothing no more. Either you down or you ain't. Period. Y'all hear me every week. Do for self or suffer the consequences. This is why you need to stop moving your ass out of your neighborhood and move into a neighborhood that looks like us so we can get teachers that look like us that actually give a damn. Shout out to Miss Bush, Miss Brad, Miss Johnson, Miss Bullock, and Miss Adams from my elementary school on the west side of Chicago. Everybody, most of the teachers in there look just like this. Most of the teachers in there taught my sisters and my aunts and my uncles on both sides of my family. My dad's sisters and brothers, my mom's sisters and brothers, my mom. Hey, how about this? My aunt Harriet, shout out to Harriet Whitmore, was a teacher, and they all knew her. I go to a gifted program after 8th grade at Whitney Young High School and bump into this dude who swam by this lady Miss Whitmore, who just happened to be my Aunt Harriet. This is why I say we need us educating us so we can get the best possible information and we can get the best possible education. The reason your kids are doing, look, how about this? There's a book out there. There's a book out there. It's a study. So let's move with the study first. The study is called Assimilation Integration Model. It is a study by Harvard University and by the University of Pittsburgh, because a lot of y'all don't believe it unless somebody white said it. So there go white people say it. That's for y'all. Now you're comfortable. Go look it up. They said the kids, it's not coincidental that the kids that excel in school happen to have teachers that look like them, and the kids that don't excel in school happen to have white teachers who demoralize them and mistreat them, and they only learning about how George Washington, Christopher Columbus discovered some shit that was already being occupied by Africans. By Africans. If you don't believe me, all you have to do is look up Dr. Henry Louis Gates on PBS. It's free. You don't even need cable. Dr. Henry Louis Gates, but episode when he had the homie, the rapper Black Thought from the city of Philadelphia, from the roots, and he tracked his ancestry back to the 1300s. Hold it. Columbus didn't discover this to 1492. So how in the hell did Black Thought get tracked back to the 1300s in Virginia? Because it was Columbus can't discover something that was here. King Mansa Musa had a 70,000 troop come over here on a regular basis and trade what was at the time called maize. Now it's called corn. Why you thinking sweet potatoes over here? Because sweet potato is an African vegetable, and they traded sweet potatoes for corn, maize for sweet potatoes. So he couldn't have discovered. Then you learn George Washington. The Pilgrims, they became friends with the Indians, and then this is what we got Thanksgiving. No. Guess what happened to the Pilgrims? The Pilgrims started cannibalizing each other, and they had to get incarcerated. And then they started killing the people that they call Indians. Some of them were Africans, some of them were the people who were here already. That you call natives. Didn't know that in school, did you? Oh, then you got George Washington and the insurrection called the Revolutionary War, right? Oh, the only thing you hear about is Crispus Attucks. You don't hear about the brothers and sisters that was fighting on the British side. You don't hear about King George. You don't hear about the brother who was in England who got slavery abolished. And then King George said, hey, Indians and black people, if y'all help us fight against these white folks, we give y'all freedom. Was it a lie? 99.99999%. It was a lie, but he said it. And if you don't believe me, all you have to do is wait for the 4th of July and wait and turn to C-SPAN and listen to the people at Philadelphia read the Declaration of Independence, and they talk about how King George asked the blacks and the Indians to participate in an insurrection. But you don't learn that. Oh, by the way, George Washington got taught immunization because they had a smallpox outbreak, and a brother from Africa taught them how to heal themselves. Didn't learn that either. You didn't even learn the bad things about black people. Anthony Johnson, the very first black man to own the black man that made slavery a lifetime situation. Anthony Johnson, before Anthony Johnson opened his black ass mouth, he owned people. And the story goes like this. Anthony Johnson, slavery was only supposed to be a 7-year thing. Anthony Johnson had people on his plantation for 14, 20 years. One of the white men walked up and said, hey, Mr. Slave Guy, what you still doing here on Anthony's plantation? He said, man, I'm a slave. Man, you come on down here, you free. He went down there, Anthony Johnson took the man to court, and guess what? Slavery became a thing into perpetuity. You didn't even learn that. Oh, man, why black people can't get along? It's this law called Marital Manumission, passed in 1776. If you help a white man, if you save a white man's life, make his life easier, or snitch on a slave revolt, you get your freedom. Oh, damn. But they ain't got nothing to do with now. Yeah, it's called epigenetics. The stress, the turmoil, all that stuff is passed through your kids, to your kids and your grandkids. And just in case you don't believe me, it takes 10 years to get over every traumatic situation. If you never got treated, it's there forever. There's no trust. See, every war that went on in this country, everything that ever happened in this country, everything good, bad, or indifferent, it's not being taught to you. They're not teaching you the beauty of you. Therefore, your sons, your daughters, your nieces, nephews, cousins, and neighbors disengage. And when they disengage, it's because they're not there. You are not going to consistently watch TV shows that you don't see black folks. What you going to watch, Frasier or Living Single? You going to watch Saturday Night Live or you going to watch Living Color? You're going to go to school, learn about white people and engage, or you go to learn to school, learn about how dope you are and be engaged. Those teachers that I named a few minutes ago, they taught me how dope I was. They taught me how dope our ancestors were. And that's why I stayed in school. That's why I stayed engaged. My favorite topic was history. There's another book out there called, it is by Dr. Sonia Douglas Hartford. It's called Learning in a Burning House. America is a burning house in regards to black people. They don't educate you about you. What's my man name? W.B. Du Bois. W.B. Du Bois said this in 1963, right before he died. Or a little bit before he died, maybe before that. But he said, at some point, they're going to relax these laws. And when they relax these laws, then what are you going to do? Are you going to be educated by the others? And then when you're educated by the others, you're going to find out you're going to be indoctrinated into imperialism. And you're not going to learn about yourself. And you're going to become a figment of your imagination. Your kids will drop out of school. Your kids are not going to want to go to school. And then what are you going to do? Is that not what's happening right now? Almost 60 years later, people. We must take control of our education process. We must do what we have to do. We must start moving around each other. When we move around each other, we create a community that's peaceful. So your daughter, your son, your niece, nephew, grandkids, neighbors can go outside and jump rope again. Me and my homegirl, Tree was talking the other day. Think about this, y'all. If you were born from 1979 on back, you're probably the last generation that could jump rope, double dutch, sing the little songs, play four corners in front of the crib, play baseball like me and pitch pennies and call it baseball like me and Big Illinois used to do, stand outside and do nothing, rock teacher and stuff like that. We the last generation that could do that. And like I told y'all Tuesday, we're the first generation that is totally liberated. Dr. King fought for the Civil Rights Act. Black Panthers did this and everybody did that. But if you were born in 1970 to 1979, well, you know what? 1969 to 1979, you're the first generation that can really look out for your people. You're the first generation that has seen success. Now, our grandparents, they got mad stories. They got mad information that we need. But this generation right here, what is it, right after the baby boomers, Generation X, we the first generation that could see a Puffy Combs, a Russell Simmons, a Tyler Perry, a Berry Gordy, what's the brothers out of Philadelphia sound, Campbell and Guff, Campbell and whatever, Gamble and Huff, Dr. Dre, Bill Cosby take over the TV as #1 TV show in the world. All black people. He got back-to-back shows making us look good. Different world. Eddie Murphy take over the movie industry. The big time movie industry, not just the black film, the movie industry. We're the first generation to see Eddie Murphy as the #1 superstar in the world. Eddie Murphy was so dope when he made Coming to America, he had no white people in it. And they made him put Louis Anderson in it. Because we want white people in it. Because Eddie didn't need that. Martin Lawrence and Will Smith, the biggest stars in the world. We the first generation to see us be able to do awesome things and things that cannot be hidden from us because we know it. So now, if you were born between the years of 1959 and 1979, what I want you to do is start buying books like this, Educating in a Burning House. We Shoot Back. Yeah, it's a back. About the people, the brothers and sisters, and things of that nature who back at the Klan. Find out who W.B. Du Bois is. Find out who Booker T. Washington is. Find out who Marcus Garvey is. Find out who Noble Drew Ali is. Find out who the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is. Find out who Malcolm X is. Find out who Whitney Young is. Find out who Andrew Young is. Find out who Fannie Lou Hamer is. Guess what? Dre 3000 ain't the first person to say I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Find out who Shirley Chisholm is. Find out who HRap Brown is. See, now it's time for us. Find out that it was a Black Expo in the 1840s talking about reparations. See, these are the things that you need to find out about. And when you find out about them, guess what happens? Oh, damn. They was doing that 100 years ago? I don't have to be a criminal? Well, teach me how. We got to start our kids at reading about us, studying about us. Oh, find out. So I'm going to give y'all, before I leave, I'm going to give y'all something. So the next dumbass Black person or white person or anybody from another culture say Black Africans sold slaves into slavery. This is what you do. You quote the richest man in the history of the earth to this very day, King Mansa Musa. King Mansa Musa signed the edict. And I'm going to find a video to confirm this, y'all. I'm going to find a video to confirm what I'm saying. He signed the edict that clearly states, he clearly stated, I own your person. He's speaking to the slaves. I own your person, but not your purse. What that means is, if I was a slave to King Mansa Musa, I'm still HRap. I'm still getting it in. I'm still doing the end of the bench, but I got to do what King Mansa Musa say. My son don't have nothing to do with this. My daughter don't have nothing to do with this. My significant other, Michelle, ain't got nothing to do with this. Nobody. My sisters are not slaves. My brothers are not slaves. My kids are not slaves. Nobody has anything to do with it but me. That's African slavery. Here's another tidbit. For those who love the Bible and love the Lord, here's another one. Here's another one. Joseph was put into slavery by his brother. Y'all ready for that? His brothers was jealous of how much his father loved him. Right? Now, Joseph's brothers kidnapped Joseph, threw him in a pit, made him a slave. He went to jail, became a slave. Next thing you know, Joseph was the king. So in African lore, there's two instances in African lore that a guy went from shit to sugar. I'm a slave, and when I die, I don't owe Mansa Musa nothing. My son don't either. I'm a slave, and I work my way up from slave to king. Now, here's another thing. The Ashanti tribe, one of the greatest warrior classes in the history of the African continent. Some fierce warriors. They took over this town of people who do tapestry. They became slaves. They could communicate. They came up with a way to, I can't even find my shirt that I use, my dashiki I usually wear during the show. It's over there, but whatever. But y'all know what kente cloth looks like. These people made cloth, and they combined it with the Ashanti cloth. And they couldn't communicate, so it was kanti. And now we know it as kente cloth. Oh, wow, they have slaves, and then they create something that identifies your black ass. You are identified by that very cloth for the rest of the time we on earth. Therefore, if an African sold a person, if I live in Ghana and I sell somebody from Sierra Leone, we look alike, but we're not the same. Oh, well, I don't know what that means. You know, that's some BS, HRap. So to you, don't Brazilians and other South Americans look alike? Don't, in some cases, Mexicans and Puerto Ricans, don't they look alike? But they different, right? But they're Latino, right? But they're different. Cubans, don't they look like Puerto Ricans and like Mexicans? But they different, right? Just because you're in one country in Africa. So do black people in Indiana and Illinois act the same? No, they different. Why don't the people from Illinois get benefits from the Indiana people? Because they're different. So when I sold a Sierra Leone person to a white man, I just thought you were going to be just like Joseph, follow the rules of King Mansa Musa, and follow the rules of the Shanti tribe. And you weren't going to get beat down to nothing. So when people tell you that dumb shit, and I said I wasn't going to try to cut down on the profane, but I had to. When they tell you that foolishness, that's what you live with. With that being said, man, I want to thank y'all for tuning in to Built for This Network. Please go to Spreaker.com, look up Built for This Network, hit like, share, tell a friend to tune in. I also want you to subscribe while you're looking on YouTube. Hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up button. Thank you. I want to salute to all my ancestors and all my family, all my friends. God bless you. Every one of my listeners who supported today, thank you. God bless you. Please continue to support. And I also want to say this. Salute to Reggie O'Shea, a.k.a. Combat Jack, in which I got this. Dream those dreams and man of water, but live those dreams, because life without dreams flows in black and white. Life with dreams flows with Technicolor surround sound. I want to thank everybody in the podcast universe who supports. Too many of y'all to say it. I also want to thank all the podcasters that inspire me, like my man Dewan, like my man Craig Fax, like my man Corey Holcomb-Zoe Williams, and Corey Holcomb-Zoe Williams, Shannon Sharp, Talib Kweli. And if I forgot your name, I'm gonna hit you like my girly girl, charged to my head, not my heart. Ray Grady. And y'all know how I end every show. 2 fingers, 1 word. This your man HRap. And if I owe you something, I ain't got it. And if you need it, get it from God.